Yeah, hello from my part. Katharina Candia Avendano here from Lohmann Tapes. Lohmann is a B2B business, so we are switching from e-commerce to customers now to B2B industrial solutions. Actually, I came here the last time 2 years ago. I have already connected with some people, and I had a really, really good time here, so I'm very much looking forward to be here again. And I looked back into my last slides, and I really had to think about, okay, what has happened the past 2 years, because a ton has happened. And that's why it's so excited to come here again. And actually, I called this presentation From Scopes to Strategy, Fighting Through the Regulatory Whirlwinds, because I think most people who are in ESG and working ESG strategy are noticing that it's been tough times. Yeah, very short. That's me. I'm Global Head of Sustainability at Lohmann, now for over two years. My background is more academic and political, consulting, and also used to do a lot of further education for Haufe and different providers. So yeah, just gave me the opportunity to look into a lot of companies and their focus on sustainability until I came to Lohmann. Lohmann, as I already said, is a B2B business. That's why perhaps not everybody might know it. And it's also not one of the largest companies. It's still, it's a large one, but just small 1,700 employees worldwide. Our headquarters in Neuwied, actually, near Koblenz, and we're specialists in adhesive technology. We are very much focused on R&D, product development for many, many markets, and have very much developed here as a also innovation space. We were just very lucky a few months ago to got the award for Rhineland-Palatines Company of the Future. Was really nice. And yeah, just a few information about Lohmann, not that important for today. In general, also for us regarding ESG, it's so interesting because I am the global head of sustainability and we have 17 sites worldwide. And here again, if I talk about regulatory whirlwinds, we're talking about so many different regulatory spaces and so many cultures and also different sites with different production facilities or no production at all. So that's definitely also a factor of complexity for Lohmann. And as I already mentioned, so we are, and that's also highly specific, we are designing for so many solutions, for so many applications in many different markets. And if you do a lot of regulatory work in ESG, you see that each market can have very different regulatory circumstances and also different touch points to ESG. So if I talk about ESG strategy and I want to talk about product, I want to talk about business model, I have to think about different ESG solutions, because, for example, if I talk about, let's say, industrial building, we talked already, the topic is very much also on transparency, because all new buildings need certification and they need digital product pass, etc. But, for example, if I talk about medical is totally different. We're talking about clean solutions because what we are doing in medical is everything regarding wound care, but something like smart bondings on the like monitors, glucose monitors, everything like this. So also very different. And if I go even further and look into hospitals, it's the topic of waste. So also different. So that's also something special about us. But first of all, because I called it in the regulatory whirlwinds, I want to touch down. And what I did is I looked into my last slides 2 years ago. And one of the slides I actually also took into the introduction was 2 years ago, the global risk report from the World Economic Forum, which I enjoy very much, although it's a bit depressing. And 2 years ago, it was stated that for this year, the biggest risk we are facing for our economies, for our society, is misinformation, disinformation, extreme weather events, societal polarization, cyber insecurity, interstate armed conflict, etc. And I think, again, the World Economic Risk Report, if you look at it for the past years, they have always been, let's say, very much right. And this has also impact on, of course, sustainability, how sustainability is seen and understood, and how we can shape it. So I looked into it, and a few months ago, just the newest report came out, and this is the newest one. And also the picture of the next 10 years, where we could see in green the environmental risk, are very much into focus for the next 10 years. We are also seeing again that here for the next 2 years, a few more social risks are coming up, talking about inequality and the erosion of human rights. But then again, pollution is stepping up, and more environmental risks are coming nearer. I want to show you, because what I really want to take away is we need to touch down where we are, and then look, if we want to strategize, what are our perspectives and what do we want to shape. And so, of course, a big topic is that we are very much in times of uncertainty, and these uncertainties are being driven from many, many, many different factors. And what I want to focus today is on the factor of misinformation, disinformation. Because that is something where I think we can get solutions for our problems, I might say. And I've prepared some stuff where I thought that could be helpful for us as a community, as working in sustainability and ESG, because what I've heard from many, many companies, that many companies have also significantly reduced headcount, not just because of industrial crises in Germany or in Europe and in general, but also due to different, let's just say, political players worldwide. We've also faced some kind of backlash against the buzzwords, ESG, sustainability. So I thought about, I think closing the gap of misinformation also in your own company is quite important, to focus on working and not just because if you're in sustainability, usually you are also always doing a lot of communication in-house. So I thought about, I think one important point is you need to go back to prepare argumentation. So for argumentation, I think the biggest or the most insightful step to close the gap of misinformation and disinformation is to reconnect with academia. Because also in the news outlets, there's so much, let's say, non-qualitative content. And we see that also in politics. The regulatory landscape also in the EU is so shifty and non-decisive. And I think there's so much more, whirlwinds. And we are not really connecting where we have the research. I think we were smarter in some topics than now. And so I brought 2 questions where I think these 2 questions could help in answering them. And one of the things is, we've already talked at some points about omnibus. So many people are saying, are we going back? Do we not need the regulatory landscape? Do we not need any push? Do we do it voluntarily? If we go back into that question, one of the fields that also I've did a lot of research and is so interesting because it's still relevant, a lot of ESG regulation originally came into perspective because of risk management, because of real financial material risk for insurances, for financial institutions. There are many, many different risk factors, but one of them, again, is still climate change litigation, where we are seeing that there are still many cases, and the number of cases regarding what is happening with negative environmental effects, they are not going down, so the risk remains. So I brought a study which is done every single year from the London School of Economics. Quite interesting. It's looking every single year. I don't know if it's been for 10 years already, or 8 or 7 years, but they are always looking into the global trends of climate change litigation, which I find very interesting. So again, there were many, many big new cases being filed in 2024, as this is a study of 2025 looking 2024. And that's also happening globally. Also, we see a lot of cases, Latin America, for example. And there are also, again, always a certain amount of cases that are directed at companies and also at people, at the people that are in charge of due diligence, so directors and officers. And again, it's not just reputational, it's here and there also, of course, a financial material risk. So as we see that increasing, what is happening with all of these cases are always showing that we have gaps in the regulatory landscape that need to be filled, because otherwise they can't get a solution who has to be in charge of what. So that is one of the reasons why originally we got the CSDDD, why all of these new transparency regulations came in place, and that is not going anywhere. So the reason remains. So the reason will come up again and again and again. That's at least something that we also see in research. And on the other side, that is just one point, because I don't have that much time to focus on the topic and why did we come to this organizational development of ESG strategy in the first place. But then if we go now into a totally different topic, if we look into technology, knowledge, acceleration, innovation, if you look at your business model, that is also, I think, a very nice a way you can reconnect with ESG strategy. Because, so for example, for us, of course, we are, as already mentioned, very much into R&D, product development, and that's why I really liked also presentation beforehand with the key message of product carbon footprinting. We have also embedded carbon footprinting, carbon accounting, I think 3 or 4 years ago. It's also part of my department. We do product carbon footprints for every single solution, and for us it's day-to-day business. Our customers ask for it day to day, and what we do, of course, for us to generate, let's say, good data quality based product carbon footprints is just very small lane here is of course, we worked with our suppliers, and our suppliers at least once a year get our whole questionnaire and all of we are asking for all product carbon footprints, etc. We have one day. So we are collecting, and now we are, I think, the third, fourth year. So data quality is getting better and better. So regarding the calculation of a product carbon footprint, it's not a problem. But now we're also again talking about life cycle assessments. So here we are diving to new spaces. But here again, what I want to state is, because of AI, everything should be getting and is getting smarter. So also product development. So you can do it the original way, but if others are doing it smarter and smarter and smarter, also the sustainability factor can very much become easier if you're in product development, because it's much easier for you to do testing. The testing loops become faster. You can, the discovery of other raw materials or other technologies for substitution becomes easier, more accessible. The market insight should also get better if you have the resources, because all of the data, of course, and all the technology is costly. But again, here we see innovation, and we see the innovation cycles growing faster. So I personally don't see why you shouldn't be very much also always seeing where does it develop regarding sustainability. And that here again is interesting, because sometimes you do have the question, if you are in this kind of business, when is the business case? And in general, this is also very much linked to the regulatory landscape. And here we don't know. But the interesting thing here is that because you don't know, it is interesting if you look into ESG strategy, and that's what strategy is for, you should have a mid to long-term perspective. So you shouldn't be too fast about short-term crises. You should also be focusing, okay, where do we want to go, and where are the markets going the next 5 to 10 years? Because if you see at the market, if you look at the market risk in climate change, it's not going anywhere. So the market for smarter solutions that are, of course, have a valid business case, but also are more sustainable, will not go away. So these are just two very much different focuses, I think, where if you connect with your own business model and go very much away and leave the political discussions and you go back to academia and research, you will find a lot of research that will help you for augmentation as a, let's say, ESG or a sustainability manager. And this is something that, of course, ESG strategy is something that you need to do in turn first. You need to find common ground. Common ground also sometimes a bit difficult. That's why I put the point first with prepare argumentation, because then, of course, you need to find where can be the focus points. Where can be the focus points for this year, for the next years? What don't we do this year but want to go back to in the next year? And of course, you need the right functions. So if you say, okay, we take the time of the whirlwinds to focus on ourselves, let's focus on data quality, for example, because data quality is not just for regulation, it's also because we need to understand our business and our products and our suppliers better. We can use it. So that would be, for example, something where we are short-term to mid-term, and then we can go back to other topics, perhaps a bit more long-term. And then you need, of course, the link to the different functions, because what I'm talking about, ESG strategy, is always embedded. So you need the different parts. You need to know which sides of the business want to be focused in the ESG strategy. And of course, you need to recommit and recommit and recommit, because people are changing. Perhaps directors are changing. The boards could be changing. So again, here it's something livid and vivid, as all strategies are. Nothing is ever set in stone nowadays. And I already embedded a few examples from our point, but just a little bit about sustainability at Lohmann. I was very lucky that when I came into the company, that the department that I was able to build is directly reporting and linked to the board. So I'm reporting to our COO. And that's, of course, very helpful. And again, here, the link to the business model to R&D is also very, very helpful. So we're working very closely with R&D, with purchasing. We're looking into the strategic sustainable procurement, what can be the material or the product composition now in the future, and just understand these markets, because if you're in product development, materials, and also if you've ever done a product carbon footprint, usually around 60 to 80% of the CO2 emissions come from the materials, at least. So the purchasing is one of the biggest parts here, and that's also something that is linked to regulatory landscapes, because it depends from which market you can purchase, or in the future which raw materials are available, and you have a lot of instability here again. So it's a link to the different departments and what we've done in the past. And I have that here very small, because I brought it 2 years ago. But if you go into it and zoom in, you can see it's our framework. One of the bases that you touched on in the beginning is you talk about ESG in the company, and you need to talk again, what does it mean for us? What are the dimensions? What are the different action items, or the different categories that you want to work in? And if you do that, and if you do it very, let's say, organized, you can do internal audits. For example, we had just, I'm not sure where the colleague is, but he was talking about EcoVadis. So, of course, it's also something that was very helpful for us as a start a few years ago, to participate in these certification and audit rounds and look into the different departments and look what are the thresholds, how much can we do, and that has been very helpful. And here linking again to ESG strategy, I think for me it was very important to take the last year to reconnect and rebuild very certain goals. And these are the goals that are in our Beyond Sustainability Strategy 2030, which are not public yet, but soon. So that is also giving, let's say, ESG strategy. If you have some years where you know we are set on this strategy and these action items, then you can focus and not so much get caught up in all of the, let's say, societal and political regulatories up and downs. So again, here I think many will state this today here, or have stated already, regarding reporting. Again, for us it's important, if it's full CSRD or not, get the basics right, build the reporting, and then if you do the reporting over and over again, you can expand it, you can reshape it, you can even slim it down if you say, okay, regarding our materiality analysis, our scope was too big. So there's so much possibility, but I do think for us it's still, we are doing it. We're doing the report. We are, of course, with the VSME report first, and have expanded it based on our strategy. And it's still a smart way to go. Here just some few examples for Lohmann. So, of course, what goes into product is important, how to produce the product. So one focus for the past, or a few years ago already, I showed this slide already, or nearly the same slide 2 years ago, was the capacities for Lohmann into solvent-free coating processes, more sustainable production, work together with universities, which is always, I think, very smart to do. Work with academia, because it's so important. And in the end, we're able to build these and their different, more sustainable ranges, or very specific sustainable solutions for customers. So I'm very happy that a lot has happened in the past years. Although, again, and that is something that I also had in my keynote the last time, is, again, we are B2B. So we are very dependent on our customers, where they're going, and what do they want? Are they appreciative, let's say, about sustainability advantages or advancements in the products? And finding together the sweet spots of sustainability for their markets, for their application. And as just stated, I do think it's still very helpful to make all your advancements and your engagements visible. That is just very important, and it's much better also for you to be understood in the market, so much easier also for sales, etc. if you can be comparable. So that's why I do think certifications are still playing a big role and are very helpful, at least also with the results you're getting, where it's very clear where can you do better. And in the end, of course, it's always a decision, also a financial decision. So, for example, with EcoVadis, to get gold, I think you need the certification of your carbon footprints. And depending on your business model, that would cost around 200 to 400K. And if our customers don't care for the certification, of course, it's just not a financially smart decision. So then, of course, you're missing out sometimes on some points for some certification standards, but it's a here and there. And as far as you are very clear and open and connect with your customers and your suppliers, so that's why going back to scope 3, you need the right partners. So that's also where I stopping or ending my presentation is again, and that's also the case why I'm here. And I think everybody's here is to unite and collaborate is still the smartest decision, especially if you're wanting to close the gap between misinformation to action. And that's why, again, here, find common goals, help each other, go beyond reporting, be industry specific, because then you're as much as you can be linked to your business model. And of course, you need to keep the discourse alive, also regards to regulation, because it's so easy for some stakeholders to make very bold decisions based on misinformation, disinformation. So you need to know what's going on and connect with academia. Thank you.